Right, the week kicks off and Celtic are not wasting any time getting back into the rhythm of things. The squad is off to Ireland and all eyes are on the friendly clash with Cork City, our second preseason outing, and although not much is expected to change in terms of the lineup from the game on Friday, there could be a couple of fresh faces joining the group. What's important is that we've now got the bulk of the squad back at Lennox Town, and that in itself brings a different energy to the preseason preparations. The buzz is growing again, you can feel it, and the pieces are starting to fall into place for what promises to be a massive campaign ahead. And with the players returning to training, naturally the talk shifts towards transfers. Because let's be honest, that's where a lot of the drama is in preseason, right? So far, 5 new faces have been brought in. Kieran Tierney, a name that speaks for itself, is obviously coming in as a starter. Ross Don has been added as a third-choice goalkeeper, a move that gives us more depth, but isn't likely to shake up the starting lineup. Benjamin Negrin is expected to be a real contender for a starting spot, showing promising early signs. Callum Osman, one for the future, could surprise a few this season if he continues the way he's been training. And then there's Hayato Amamura, also a prospect with potential who might end up going out on loan, depending on how things unfold in the coming weeks. The point is, the club has already moved decisively in the market, but it doesn't look like we're done yet. Even though things had been heating up for a few weeks with talk about these signings, the club kept its cards close to the chest until all 5 were officially announced. As of now, there's no confirmation of any other incoming names that are at the stage of being done deals. No more of those when not if type of situations at the moment. But over the weekend, a few interesting names popped up again in the rumor mill, which is always worth keeping an eye on. One of those names is Isak Janssen, a player who seems to be attracting interest from Celtic now that Nicholas Kuhn is on his way out. And to be honest, the writing was on the wall. We all saw it coming. Reports suggest he's having a medical today, so it's just a matter of time before that becomes official. Now, whether or not letting Kuhn go is the right decision is up for debate. The version of Kuhn we saw in the first half of last season was electric, someone who stepped up at Champions League level, which is no small feat. Replacing that kind of impact is never easy, and the fact that he's leaving does leave a big hole in the team. So it's no surprise that Celtic would look towards someone like Janssen. And here's where it gets a bit interesting. When Kuhn left Rapid Vienna to join Celtic back in January of 2020, it only took the Austrian club a couple of weeks to bring in a replacement. None other than Janssen himself. He arrived initially on loan before securing a permanent deal, and last season he managed 9 goals and 6 assists across 33 matches, despite missing some time due to a knee injury. That kind of output is solid, especially for a winger, and it's clear he's got talent. At 23 years old, he's already had some decent experience, including time with the Swedish under-21 squad. But here's the thing, and I know I'm not alone in feeling this. There's just something about this potential signing that doesn't fully excite me. Maybe it's because when you're talking about selling a player like Kuhn for around £17 million, you'd expect the club to really swing big in terms of a replacement. And again, Janssen might prove everyone wrong. He might come in and hit the ground running. But from where I'm standing, it just feels like an opportunity to go a little bigger, to really aim for someone who not only can do a job domestically but can step up on the European stage, especially in those crucial Champions League qualifiers. We've seen what a difference one quality player can make in those early knockout rounds. And with the league title expectations never going away, European progression is what the fans are craving. Janssen might fit the bill. He's got pace, he can play on either side of the attack, and he's apparently got interest from Italian clubs like Lazio and Fiorentina. But again, my gut tells me that we could and maybe should be aiming a bit higher. This is a club that has taken strides forward in the last 18 months. If the ambition is to get out of the Champions League group stages again, which by the way we did manage last season, then the quality bar needs to be just as high, if not higher. Now shifting over to another potential new face, there's been talk about Justin De Haas, a Dutch centre-back who's been linked with the club. The report came from the Herald and said that Celtic are considering a move. So nothing concrete yet, but still a name worth noting. De Haas is 25, left-footed, and plays on the left side of defense, which would make him the 4th left-footed centre-back on the books. If he arrives joining the likes of Liam Scales, Austin Trusty, and Hayato Amamura, he's tall, physical, around 6'3" or 6'4", and comes with a bit of an interesting backstory, having played in the Netherlands, Croatia, and more recently in Portugal. And again, similar to Janssen, it's not necessarily the name that gets pulses racing. We've had our fair share of center backs in recent seasons who came in with promise and didn't quite deliver. Make Nawrocki and Gustav Lagerbielke, for instance, both already on their way out after not really establishing themselves. So you start to feel like this is the moment where Celtic really need to get it right. There's a clear need for a commanding, reliable left-sided centre-back to partner Cameron Carter-Vickers. Someone who can not only handle the rigors of the Scottish Premiership, but who can also stand tall in European competition. Get that right and suddenly you're looking at a defensive unit that could genuinely compete at the highest level. And while De Haas could be that player, I can't help but feel like there might be a better option out there. Again, the transfer fee mentioned is around £3 million, which seems to be the sweet spot Celtic are shopping in this summer. But as we've seen time and time again, sometimes stretching a little further financially brings in a lot more value on the pitch. Not always, of course, but enough to at least consider aiming a bit higher, especially when there's a Champions League campaign on the horizon. And look, this isn't about being negative or dismissing players before they've had a chance to show what they can do. Far from it. It's just about recognizing the position Celtic are in right now. The club is building something under Brendan Rodgers, something that feels sustainable and ambitious. And that's why every move in the transfer market matters. We've had seasons where the squad depth wasn't quite right, or we missed that one key signing that could have pushed us to the next level. This time it feels like we've got the foundation. Now it's about the fine margins, the one or two Topolvel additions that take us from contenders to competitors in Europe. And one thing worth pointing out is that Hayato Amamura doesn't seem to be the final word when it comes to central defenders this summer. He's young, raw, and clearly brought in with the future in mind. There's a decent chance he'll be loaned out, especially once he's had a run in preseason, and the coaching staff have had a proper look at him. Rodgers himself said after the Queen's Park game that while players like Scales and Trusty are options, he does want to bring in another center back. He even mentioned Dane Murray, saying if he can stay fit, he could be in and around the first team. And let's be honest, Dane did look decent on Friday. Nothing spectacular, but solid, which is exactly what you want at this stage of the season. Still, as fans, we're dreaming of the next Virgil van Dijk, right? Someone who can walk into the squad, command the backline, and dominate both physically and tactically. Those players don't come around every day, but with the Champions League ahead and key domestic fixtures looming, now's the time to invest in that kind of quality. Trusty had a mixed debut season, moments of brilliance, moments to forget. He could well come good, no doubt about it, but the fact that we're even discussing this need for another center back shows that the club sees the potential to improve. And that's encouraging in itself. Elsewhere, departures are quietly reshaping the squad too. Lagerbielke is close to sealing a move to Braga for around £1 million, while Nawrocki has already joined Hanover on a loan deal with an option to buy. And it doesn't stop there. Reports are suggesting that Stephen Welch might be heading back to Belgium, which would further open up space in that defensive unit. All of this movement only reinforces the idea that we're still in the market for a center back with real pedigree. Speaking of movement, there's been some intriguing developments on the attacking side too. Mikey Johnston, who's been in and out of the side for what feels like years, is apparently on the verge of joining Brazilian giants Flamengo in a deal worth around $5 million. Now, let's be honest, that's a bit of a shocker. Not that Johnston doesn't have talent. He absolutely does, but a move to one of the biggest clubs in South America, that's a twist no one saw coming. Fair play to him if it goes through. Sometimes a change of scene is all a player needs to find consistency and confidence. And then there's Kyogo Furuhashi, one of the most beloved players to wear the Celtic shirt in recent years. Kyogo has signed for Birmingham City in the Championship. He'll join forces with his countryman Tomoki Iwata and work under former assistant Chris Davies, which might just be a recipe for success. Birmingham are looking like a decent shout for promotion, and if Kyogo finds his form, he could be one of the standout players in that league. It does sting a bit though seeing someone of his caliber dropping into the second tier of English football, but maybe this is a stepping stone. Maybe in 12 months' time he's back in the Premier League showing everyone what we already know, that he's a top-class striker with movement and intelligence that few can match. Back at Lennox Town, preseason is properly underway now, with a staggered return of players based on their summer schedules. Over the weekend, we saw the return of big names like Kieran Tierney, Benjamin Negrin, Dazen Maeda, and Rio Hadid. Marco Tilio also made a surprising comeback as spotted by a few eagle-eyed fans. It wasn't clear if he'd be involved this summer, but there he was back training, which gives him a chance to stake a claim He didn't get much of a run last season, so the preseason could be a big opportunity for him. What's interesting is how the training was split into different groups. Saturday had two main sessions, a morning and an afternoon group. In the morning, we had Rio Hadid, Marco Tilio, Hyunjun Yang, Dazen, Maeda, Callum Osman, and Benjamin Negrin. In the afternoon, it was Kieran Tierney, James Forrest, Hayato Amamura, Anthony Ralston, and Liam Scales. These are the players back in the mix now, but we're still missing a few names. The likes of Alistair Johnston, Odin Thiago, Home, Paulo Bernardo, and Lila Bada haven't been spotted yet, and neither has Luis Palma. Cameron Carter-Vickers is back but has been training alone. Nothing major, just part of his post-surgery routine. And there's hope he'll be ready to feature in Portugal later this week. It's always a bit of a jigsaw puzzle during preseason. Different players coming back at different times depending on international duty or injury recovery. Callum McGregor, for example, had a long break after the Scottish Cup final and has finishing to return, while others have barely had time to breathe. That's the nature of the modern game. You've got players coming off a packed season going straight into international duty, and then being asked to gear up again just weeks later, so the staggered start makes sense. The important part is getting everyone back up to speed in time for the serious stuff. And speaking of getting back up to speed, Celtic dropped their official review of the double-winning season this past weekend. A little in-house production called Formidable, which, let's be honest, took a moment to click for some of us. It's the kind of title that makes sense once you realize it's celebrating for in a row. Still, naming aside, the video itself was pretty solid. A full hour of highlights, interviews, and most importantly, behind-the-scenes clips. That gave fans a rare glimpse into the inner workings of the squad. Now don't get me wrong, it's not quite up there with the Amazon Prime documentaries. This is still Celtic-produced content, so naturally it glosses over the lows and leans into the highs. The Scottish Cup final defeat, for example, is barely acknowledged. But there were some brilliant moments in there, like Callum McGregor giving a passionate speech before the League Cup final against Rangers, saying we've got so much quality in this room and it's quality they don't have. Let's be honest, we are the top team. That's leadership right there, and it shows why he's so respected inside that dressing room. There were other little nuggets too, like seeing Benjamin Siegrist get involved vocally in the dressing room, or catching glimpses of how the team celebrated big wins. Brendan Rodgers used some of the external criticism, the talk of tedious trebles and lack of competition, to fire up the squad. It's clear he knows how to play the psychological game, not just with the players, but with the narrative around the club as well. And then there was Anthony Ralston belting out "Hey Soul Sister" by Train on the bus after the title clinching win. Apparently it's become a bit of a tradition now, something that adds a bit of lightheartedness to what can be an intense high-pressure environment. It's those moments, the unfiltered ones, that fans really crave. Not just the goals and trophies, but the little details, what the players are like when the cameras are off, how they interact, who's the joker, who's the quiet leader. That's the stuff that turns footballers into personalities and builds a stronger connection between the team and the supporters. Overall, the documentary was a step in the right direction. It still feels a bit cautious, a bit polished, but you can see the intent. Celtic are trying to pull back the curtain just a little more each year, and as a fan base, that's something to appreciate. Because supporting a club isn't just about results, it's about the story, the journey, the identity. And the more we get to see that story unfold behind the scenes, the more invested we become. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Whispers are swirling around Scottish football as Che Adams is reportedly close to signing with Celtic, a move that could shake up the Premiership and send waves of excitement through the Parkhead faithful. The English striker, known for his pace, skill, and keen eye for goal, would be a major boost for the Glasgow Giants as they look to strengthen their attack ahead of the new season. Adams, who has shown flashes of brilliance in recent Premier League campaigns, is said to promise to rock the league with a sensational debut. His aggressive playing style and knack for finding space could perfectly complement the attacking setup Celtic have been developing, although no official announcement has been made yet. Rumors are rife on social media and within the corridors of Celtic Park, with fans already dreaming of a more lethal, revitalized front line. This potential signing comes at a crucial time for Celtic, as they aim to reclaim their dominance in the Scottish Premiership from their arch-rivals Rangers. Bringing Adams on board wouldn't just beef up their forward line, it would also send a strong message to their competitors that Celtic are ready to fight for every ball with talent and intensity. It's believed the club has made an attractive offer to secure the striker before other teams get involved, showing their urgency to add a goal threat who can deliver in big matches. Moreover, Adams' arrival would open up new tactical options for the manager, who could switch between more attacking or balanced formations, maximizing Adams' strengths while boosting the overall team performance. Celtic supporters are already dreaming of electrifying runs and spectacular goals, something Adams is well known for, which could change the pace and excitement of the league. While official confirmation is still pending, the rumor of Che Adams joining Celtic is currently the hottest topic in Scottish football. If it goes through, it will surely be one of the biggest transfers of the window and could turn the tide of the championship. For now, all eyes are on the developments, but the green attack looks poised to unleash a real revolution. Could Che Adams be the new hero Celtic fans have been waiting for? The anticipation and speculation continue to build. Hello, fan! Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.